my creative peeps, and welcome back for your Take 5 art journal video. For those of you that don't know what the Take 5 is, it is a monthly challenge I do with 11 other ladies here on YouTube. One of us picks 5 prompts and then we create some kind of creative page with it. Today's prompts were chosen by Vicky over at Crafting Vicky, and she has some very interesting prompts for us. So 1 is make marks with a non-art supply, 2 use colored pencils, 3 use a magazine image, 4 use sprays, and 5 use the color purple. So I'm really excited about these. A lot of the other ladies in the chat were a little intimidated by this, which I thought was interesting, but it's right up my alley, and I know it's right up Vicky's too. So this is the magazine image I think I'm going to use, and I'm actually going to make a calendar background out of this for my Patreon for September. For those of you that don't know, I have a Patreon where I share extra content, and every month you get like a printable calendar. So this has my schedule on it, but this was last month's calendar. We did Alice in Wonderland. So I'm going to do a mixed media one for September. So we'll do that. This will be sped up for you guys if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're on Patreon, grab your supplies because we're going to be doing this real time. All right, let's get to it. Okay guys, so I started out by looking at my photo and choosing exactly which colors I wanted to use. Of course, I pulled out more products and colors than I needed because I hadn't, fully gotten into the process yet. So I just chose a couple. I chose this Ecoline Lilac color, the Ecoline Deep Yellow, as well as the deep green, and I just kind of scribbled that all over the page and then took my paintbrush and some water and washed it out. Now again, this is Tomoe River paper, so this technique works super well in this. If you have like a Hobonichi or something, this would also work well. It also works in the Leuchtturm and such, so I will try to leave as many things linked below in the description box as I can in case you are interested in that. But one of the things that I did to help make this technique work better is I tried not to mix the green color with the purple or the yellow color with the purple, because it would make kind of funky browns. So yeah, that's how I did that. I did make sure that the yellow and the bluish green mixed together so that it would create a nice deep green that it would go well with the plants in the photograph. So after I put that down, I let it dry just a little bit. I was shaking up the distress oxides in anticipation for that. So after it dried, for the most part, I used 2 of my distressed oxides. I believe this one is spiced marmalade and the other one is picked raspberry. Again, I will leave them linked below if you would like to check those out. So yeah, I just sprayed those on there and of course cleaned up my desk. And some of these spray effects I wanted to keep, but other ones I wanted to make sure to get rid of that radial circle spray look. So I just took my paintbrush again and kind of spread it out. And because these are oxides, adding the water gives it that oxidized effect after it dries. So kind of 2 purposes there. And I really like the depth of color that adding those warm tones added, especially since my photo that I want to use has those warm tones in it. So after that dried, I scanned it. So if you want to get a printable of this or the calendar, you can head over on to my Patreon. You get this at any level of support. And patrons, keep your eye out for this tomorrow because you'll be getting that. But anyway, after I did that, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the piece of paper. Now, I really wanted to put it in my journal, and I thought I was going to do a tip-in, but the image that I chose, of course, came out of Daphne's Diary, and Daphne's Diary is a very large magazine. So it was larger than I expected. So instead of just, instead of just making a tip-in, I decided to tip in the entire page. So here I am just pulling out some of my washi tapes that I have in my little pouch. And I chose the succulents for this side. Excuse me, my goodness, the hiccups. Succulents for this side. And just kind of taped that in. There we go. And then I washied the other side in as well with a different tape. I was seeing how far it stuck out. It did stick out pretty far because, well, one, I'm using an A4 sheet, so the sizing is very different to begin with. And then on top of that, of course, I was washi taping it in the middle of a signature, so you have that little extra bumped out. So I just took a ruler and ripped along it. By the time I was done, the page still stuck out quite a bit, but it was at least within the parameters of the cover. And as you can see there, it's more of like tab height than anything. But with how large the photograph was, I didn't want to trim any more of it off, really. It just would have looked funky. So I just left it there. Once I add more tabs and get further into this journal, you really won't even notice that much. So I wasn't too worried about it. Then I took my Q-tip for the prompt where you have to make marks with a non-art material. I believe that's what the prompt was. I don't have it in front of me. But anyway, I started to make some blobs and turn them into dashes, and I'm really not a polka dot person, and that's what they looked like to me. So, of course, I just made stars with it because, you know, if you've been following me for any length of time, that's always my default because I love stars. So I did that, and then I was just checking my prompt list and trying to figure out the placement of where I wanted to put this, because I knew I wanted to put some words on it, and because I was putting it up there, I decided to just dab the excess color off that wasn't dry yet with my paper towel, because I ended up covering it up. But I did keep some of the stars on the bottom, and you see some of them peek out on the side. So just use my double-sided tape to stick that down. There we are. And if you're wondering about any of my basic supplies like paper or what double-sided tape I use and stuff, it's all in my Amazon storefront there, which is always linked in the description box below if you'd like to check that out. I also have some non-art related recommendations on there. So moving on to the last prompt that I need to do, which was colored pencils. I decided I would use them to kind of write the sentiment that I wanted to write there, and I really enjoyed this photo. The article is about macrame, but to me, she just looks so cozy. I love reading in the summer outside, and I felt like this just encapsulated what I wanted to be doing rather than working, which was be cozy in the summer light reading. So I just wrote some words that were speaking to me at the moment. I used the black Eco Line brush pen to do that. I was going to use my black Tombow, but my black Tombow has disappeared. I don't know what happened to it, and I'm very upset about it, but hopefully I will find that again sometime soon. I have a feeling it might have died and maybe I threw it away, but we'll see. So I just took a couple different shades of purple because I felt like the purple was kind of lost because that was one of the prompts. And I just kind of shaded over the stars to blend them into the background. I made a border with a darker purple, and I also gave the little phrases there a drop shadow with the colored pencil. So I really like how that came out. It added a lot of interesting touches to it. A lot of people don't like colored pencil, but I think it adds some very subtle texture and highlights that we don't often think of adding. So I think that's pretty cool. And then I just felt that I needed a little bit more yellow. It was looking pretty white up at the top edge there, so I just added some extra color. And that is it. I just want to take a moment to thank all of my Patreon peeps for their support. They make this video possible and all the other videos on my channel. They are the reason you get to see this free content, and they are amazing human beings. So with all of that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the prompts this month. Please don't forget to check out the other ladies in the description box below. Tag me so I can see what you create. Use the hashtag Take5Art so we can see all of your creations. And I'll catch you guys in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye.